A blessed day to you all. My name is Peter Lino from Sydney, Australia. Welcome to Pathways of Hope. Our gospel reading for today is from Luke 19, verses 1 to 10. As I narrate the story contained in our reading, I invite you all to try to picture yourselves being in the scene itself, watching and listening to the characters involved. At that time, Jesus came to Jericho and intended to pass through the town. Now, a man there named Zacchaeus, who was a chief tax collector and also a wealthy man, was seeking to see who Jesus was. But he could not see him because of the crowd, for he was short in stature. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree in order to see Jesus, who was about to pass that way. When he reached the place, Jesus looked up and said, Zacchaeus, come down quickly, for today I must stay at your house. And he came down quickly and received him with joy. When they saw this, they began to grumble, saying, He has gone to stay at the house of a sinner. But Zacchaeus stood there and said to the Lord, Behold, half of my possessions, Lord, I shall give to the poor, and if I have extorted anything from anyone, I shall repay it 4 times over. And Jesus said to him, Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a descendant of Abraham. For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save what was lost. Please allow me to highlight a few things about this story, which, by the way, is unique to the Gospel of Luke. Firstly, who is this character Zacchaeus? We know him as a tax collector. Note, not just a tax collector, but in fact, a chief tax collector. Needing no further explanation, he was the chief for this group of people during Jesus' times who were scorned upon for collecting the hard earned money of ordinary people, only to be passed on to the Romans. Talk about irony. The name Zacchaeus means righteous, which isn't one of the virtues of this man who bears such a name. Despite such a background and reputation, Zacchaeus took interest in Jesus. For him to take such an interest to the point that he was willing to run and climb a sycamore tree just to get a glimpse of a man he hasn't met tells us that somehow a seed has been planted in him, which stirs up this desire to know more about Jesus. Let us never take for granted the stirrings in our hearts. Hardened and badly bruised as they may be, this can be God knocking at the door of your heart. It, however, doesn't stop there. Zacchaeus' conversion came about not simply because of a desire. He had to respond and take action. Specifically, upon being called by Jesus to come down from the tree, he came down quickly and received him with joy into his house. Almost like any other movie plot, it didn't take long for controversy to unfold. The people grumbled. What? The supposed holy man of Israel was actually going to spend time with this corrupt official? Zacchaeus' decision to allow Jesus to enter his home and Jesus' willingness to see beyond what this man has done in the past and offer him his special blessing was not something that these bystanders could appreciate. In a sense, Zacchaeus had that day allowed Jesus to enter the deep, dark crevices of his heart, receiving his loving mercy. Zacchaeus' further response was a true mark of someone who has received mercy. He was willing to make restitution. He now was giving away his riches to the poor, and was going to pay back what he has stolen. For this, Jesus acknowledges Zacchaeus' repentance and conversion from being the corrupt tax collector to now a descendant of Abraham, or interpreted as a son of Abraham, the true heir to the promises of God in the Old Testament. The simple yet important lesson from today's reading. When Jesus knocks at the doors of our hearts, let us listen and respond. From the first reading from Revelations, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, then I will enter his house and dine with him and he with me. Second, a decision to follow the Lord is never easy. There will be many who will question motive, sincerity, and the ability to sustain such a decision. It is worth noting that when questioned, Zacchaeus stood there. He stood there and made his commitment before Jesus and the people. My dear friends, stand firm. Jesus stands with you. Lastly, the fruit of turning away from sin, wrongdoing, and making restitution from all of these is a promise made by God to Abraham and his descendants that we will see and enter the promised land ourselves. May you all have a blessed day.